Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. So in today's video, it's really going to be an interesting video because I have decided to build a PC basically from the ground up. So the PC that I have now, that I have been doing all of my Sims videos on, it was a really good PC for a while. And if you've seen my review of the PC, then you know that I've had this PC since maybe like 2019, I believe. And it was a pre-built, it's just a Dell, but I was able to play games on it. Yakuza, Shenmue, even High on Life worked really well on this PC. But Microsoft has decided to stop supporting Windows 10. So if you're not able to update your computer after this year, you will not have access to updates from Microsoft if you still have Microsoft 10. However, you can extend that if you need to. If it does pop up on your computer, you're not able to update, you can extend it to the end of 2026, which is what I did on my old PC, but then other stuff started crashing. I had to do an update on my GPU, and ever since the update has not been working. And I don't feel like trying to figure out how to fix it, especially since I'm just gonna buy a new one or build one anyway. So that's what I'm doing in this video. So we are going to build my new PC. I have everything kind of in order over here on the couch. That's how I'm going to do everything. And then the case is here. So let's get started with installing the parts for the motherboard and then hopefully get it put into the PC. I will say I'm not an expert. I did a lot of YouTube research and a lot of chat GPT to find out what's going to go with what and what I need and everything that matches. So I'm pretty sure everything is going to fit and I don't have to return anything, but we shall see. Okay, so it took me a while to find the arrow, but it is in like not a good place. So the arrow, let's see if I can zoom in, because all the videos that I watched, they show that there's an arrow on the motherboard, but it's like right there. Like I looked and I knew I wasn't putting it in wrong, but God, who can see that? So I'm just gonna pop in real quick for a quick voiceover. So I just finished installing the RAM, and this SD card that you see on screen is not the SD card that I have right now in my PC. I did end up returning that one, and I ended up purchasing a Samsung one, and you'll see that pop up in just a few minutes, the one that I actually have in my PC. So I realized that this one was not working and was not gonna work for my build. But the technique as far as installing is still the same. You just find the slot that you want to put it in and you just screw it down onto the motherboard. This part took a little while to do. I was having so much trouble trying to get that plate in, but I eventually get it in, and you'll see in the video how I got it in, or I'm explaining how I got it in. But if you could see on my wrist, I am wearing one of those anti-static bracelets. Right now it's not connected to anything. You could see that in the video that it's not connected to anything, but I decided to wear one because even though I have hardwood floors, for some reason my husband and I, when we like kiss each other, like just a quick peck, we do shock each other, and it does hurt sometimes. And so I figured it is better to be safe than sorry, so I decided to wear one. But when I was just installing like the parts to the tower or the case, I didn't have it connected to anything or grounded to anything. But when I was handling the motherboard, I did have it attached to a piece of metal. So yeah. So after cutting my finger, I don't even know how I cut my finger, but I didn't even feel that I was bleeding. I just saw a little bit of blood in there. I finally got it in. I had to take it over to the couch and like lay it on the back side, on his back, and kind of push like that to get it in there. But it finally popped in. So it's in there like swimwear. Now we can put the motherboard in. I have both sides off. So this is going okay. I thought, actually I knew this part would be easy. I think the part that I'm concerned about, even like putting this motherboard in, I'm not too worried about, but I think I'm more worried about the cable management and all of that, so. So next, what I'm going to do is insert the bigger SD card, just because everything's on this one and I just want to have something just in case. So I'm just going to put it in. First, I got to take it out of this old case and then we'll put it in the new one. And this came from the bottom down here. There's actually 2 slots, but I'll show you in a second. So, gotta put it in the case. The case accessories came with these little rubber damper things. If you can see that. And they go in the little Mickey Mouse ear. So I already put 3 of them on. So I will put this one on. So it just slides down here at the bottom, and then I just push it up like that. Goes down here, slides up. So I put them all on. It's in this new case. Now I'll put the screws on. Alright, so everything is installed. So it's going to go right here, where this is the other one, which I don't need. Alright, so now I'm going to install the AIO. So here is the back plate for the Intel 1700. You do have to move these little clips for the 1700 up to the 1700, and it shows you in the instructions, but it can go for that one and another type of CPU, but I already moved my clips. So I'm gonna peel this off first. Put 3 other screws in. I gotta put 1 more in. Alright, so that is on. Next is the scary part, this thermal paste thing. I have no idea what to do. I've seen people do an X, I've seen people do 6 dots. I think I'm gonna do the dots. I did the thermal paste. I looked up a bunch of YouTube videos, and the way that they were putting it on, it made it look so smooth. This stuff is thick. I mean, I had to use my hands to smear because I didn't have a spatula. And as I'm like smearing it, it's getting stuck to my hands more than the CPU. But I got it on there, so I'm gonna wash my hands and then we're gonna install the cooler. was just having the hardest time installing this cooler. I just kept taking it off and putting it back on, taking it off. I probably did that like 7 times before I did something different. But as I was taking it off and putting it back on, the thermal paste was spreading a little bit more, which does help. But it was getting onto, well, I was nervous that it was going to get onto the motherboard, so I'm cleaning it up with some alcohol and a Q-tip because it did spread a little bit past the chip. But I ended up, like I said, taking the whole thing off, and you'll see it in a few minutes how I install it because it was not working for me this way. Okay, so this is the way I'm gonna do it. I took those brackets off and just put them on the pump because I was having trouble putting the pump onto these things with it already being in the motherboard. So I just took them off and put them on the pump. Now I'm gonna put this whole thing back in. It should be a lot easier than what I was trying to do. We got the battery put in. This screw right here, I stripped it a little bit. It was not going in. I had it down here originally thinking something was wrong with the hole, but it was a screw, but I eventually got it in once I got my drill out. So I was able to get all of the screws in nice and snug.
So the build is basically done. The only thing that I did not show was me hooking up all of the wires and cables and things like that into the motherboard. I just figured it was just going to take way too long. I was really tired and I had to go through so many manuals and YouTube videos and all of that, and I kind of explained that at the end. But it was able to turn on. I did have to take it to Micro Center because it wasn't booting from the SD card that I wanted to boot from. I looked up so many videos again, going into BIOS, and I just could not get it to boot. But shout out to Micro Center for fixing it within a few hours, or within 24 hours really, and it works really well, and I absolutely love the PC.
Yes, it was a lot.
For real, what all went into that? 'Cause my understanding is that it was just like you're taking a couple of parts out. I'm not taking a couple of parts out.
I didn't use. The only thing I used out of the old one was the memory card.
So you're basically okay. So rate your experience out of 10, like putting that together. 10 being like smooth, 0 being torturous. I'd never do it again.
I'd say a 5. Only because there was one part I knew the motherboard would be easy, like just putting all that, because I was just sticking everything in. I would say the hardest part was the cable thing, which I knew would be hard.
What was so difficult about it?
Well, because nothing's like named what you think it's gonna be named. So it's all like T'Challa. There you gonna be a no. It's all like computer names, and so you just have to know, because the power supply that I have, nothing's plugged into that. First of all, you have to figure out what goes into that part. Then you have to figure out what goes into the parts that you need. So some things I had to like look up, and they weren't named the same thing. Like the light on the thing right there, that was called something different on my motherboard, and I had to like Google what another name could be called on that. I feel like that was the hardest part.
So basically, if the parts were named the same,
I didn't look at the old ones to know what they were called. I just took out what I needed, just one thing. But I said no. I said they weren't named what you think they would be named. Like the only thing that like had a recognizable name was fan, and so I knew the fans plugged into the fan port. But like the lights, to get that to power on, like it's these 3 little skinny little pieces, and I had no idea where that's supposed to go. And it's called, I forget what it's called, but it's like the tiny, and then on the motherboard, everything's like so tiny, like the print. So I'm like bending over, looking all over, trying to find like names and stuff, because everything's so small.
So how did you even learn to put stuff together? Did you like watch
YouTube videos, even though, and also the hard part was putting that thing with the light on it, putting that on. That was like that was the hard part too.
Why was it difficult?
Just flashed, because like it just would not line up. The screws wouldn't line up, and then the white fans at the top were kind of heavy, so I'm like holding that at the same time, trying to screw in these screws, and it was just not. It wasn't going, and so I had to like. Then you got to put this thermal paste stuff on, and that wasn't spreading as easy as I thought. I had to use my finger.
There are people. Well, the good news is we won't have to do this for like another 7 years.
hopefully not.